And welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, for a full Barça news roundup coming your way, because we do have a range of topics on the agenda today, rumours and discussion there about the future of Xavi Hernandez at Barça. We're also going to be talking about the current form and the future as well of Ansu Fati, who's really been firing of late, and we are going to have the very latest update on Vitor Roque. There's been a few big breaking news stories on him ahead of the January transfer window. It is all coming your way today. Lots coming up. So let's do it. Because if we do indeed kick off with Ansu Fati, who was on fire in Amsterdam last night. He scored and assisted there against Ajax, and I thought his goal was a really good one there, latching onto a defensive mistake. He burst through the middle of Ajax's defence, and he coolly slotted home the finish in the 1-versus-1 versus the goalkeeper. And I've got to say, looking at Ansu Fati, looking at the way that he's really starting to perform in recent weeks at Brighton, he is finding his feet now. That is 4 goals and 1 assist in less than 600 minutes of football. And I think Brighton there have sort of eased him into life in England. It's a completely new culture for him. You know, obviously he's coming off the back of a season last season where he didn't really play a great deal. And Brighton have got a lot of good attacking options too. So Ansu has had to have some patience during his time at the club so far. But I think the most exciting thing when you're watching Ansu right now, and game by game, you look at the development of him, he's getting sharper. It's not just about the goals, about the numbers that he may be producing, but actually it's about the explosivity in his game again. That is what we are desperately looking to return to Ansu. We know the kind of player that he can be. We know that he has the ability to be electric on the field, and like we saw in his goal yesterday, pouncing on errors, turning them into goals and making things happen in the blink of an eye. That's the player that we want. That is the player that we need to come back again. And I'm really enjoying, guys, the influence that De Zerbi is having on Ansu Fati so far at Brighton. The way that I think he's motivating him, that he's pushing him as well, because it's not good enough here to just say, oh, you know, well done for scoring, you're doing well, everything's good, there's nothing really that you can do to improve. I think De Zerbi, he is really pushing Ansu to the max, and he wants more and more and more. After the game yesterday, he was actually almost critical of Ansu. He said, I'm satisfied, but I expect more. I want more from Ansu. He said he played very well in the first half, but in the second half, after the second goal, he could play better. He can't just be happy for the first goal and the assist. He has to want more, and I think it's that drive and determination that is going to push Ansu back to his best level. And I'm really encouraged so far by what we are seeing during his time on loan at Brighton. And my question now is, early days of course, but what is going to happen in the summer? Because we have heard plenty of times that Barca are hoping here that Ansu Fati can impress during his time at Brighton, that he can do so well that then Barca can sell him for big money. That's the aim here, that Ansu does so well that we just cash in on him. But I think a lot of this depends on João Felix right now and whether he is able to convince us at the club, because obviously he had a brilliant start, there's no denying that, but in recent weeks, along with the rest of the team admittedly, he's fallen away. He has not really been at that same level. And are you really telling me right now that if Ansu continues to impress, continues to improve again, that we're just going to cash in and sell him for big money and then what? Spend it on João Felix? Is that something that we'd really be willing to do right now? So there's obviously a long way to go. We're going to see how the two perform throughout the season, but I think right now, very, very encouraging signs for Ansu Fati. He's doing all the right things. It's great that he's looking good and feeling good too, and De Zerbi is pushing him every single step of the way. Which brings us on then to talk about Xavi Hernandez, who, let's not forget here, didn't really have a lot of faith in Ansu Fati at the start of the season there. Back in the summer, he was the one who was really saying, well, you're not going to get much football. If you stay at the club here, we're not really going to be able to use you. I would rather look elsewhere. So it's going to be interesting as well to see if that opinion from Xavi changes, whether Ansu is able to sort of change his mind depending on what he does out on loan. But on Xavi's future, it is interesting to hear in the media right now what is going on, because there was a journalist there, Jose Alvarez, who said after the defeat against Shakhtar Donetsk, there was a lot of tension and anger and unrest there in the Barca dressing room. And he actually went on to say that he feels that trust is being lost between the players and the coaching staff at the club right now. But what I would say about about this. It's a rumour that's really gone around, but I don't know how much we can read into it. This journalist here is from El Chiringuito, which, as we know, is based in Madrid. A lot of what they come up with is just speculation, and I've got no doubt that those in Madrid are probably enjoying the current situation at Barça. But it was interesting, though, I thought, that Sport this week also went on to report that Barça were interested in Real Sociedad's coach, Imanol Alguacil, back in the summer, though, of 2021, when, don't forget, it was Ronald Koeman's future then that was in doubt, and apparently Imanol Alguacil was very, very highly regarded by the Barça board, but Koeman, of course, ended up staying an extra few months, and then mid-season, we actually turned to Xavi instead. But I just want to point out here, Alguacil has done an incredible job at Real Sociedad. We saw that firsthand last weekend. They were brilliant against us. They deserve so much more from the game. They played fearlessly in front of their own fans. They've already qualified, by the way, for the Champions League knockout stages, and with so many homegrown players as well. So he's done a really, really impressive job at Real Sociedad, and it was interesting that he was on our radar. But I want to point out here, Fernando Polo, very, very reliable journalist from Mundo Deportivo, as of right now, there is no unrest between the coach and the board at Barcelona. He says that Joan Laporta actually called Xavi after the defeat to Shakhtar to convey his absolute confidence and trust in him, especially right now amid the noise in the media about Barca's situation. Laporta was keen to stress that we do still have trust in you, and Fernando actually said there, he went on to say that Xavi really appreciated that show of confidence from Laporta. He appreciated their being reassured in these times, and I'm sure that he wants to repay that trust on the field. But the question is right now, will Xavi receive any further help from the Barca board, more than he's already had in the January transfer window? Because the feelings over the past few days, guys, they've not been good. A lot of pessimism, a lot of negativity there about what Barca may or may not be able to do in January when it comes to further additions to this team. And that brings us onto Vitor Roque, because the big report in the media that is really circulating right now is one from Rack 1, because they say, as it stands today, Barca have ruled out the signing of Vitor Roque in January. They are absolutely certain here that he won't be coming in the winter window, and that is absolutely staggering to me. That's come sort of out of nowhere. We were very confident of Roque. We are feeling good about him arriving in January. All the groundwork seemed to have been done, but Rack 1 here say, as it stands, that will not happen come the winter window. But of course, there are other reports out there as well right now, because Roque appears on the front page of Sport this morning, and as you can see there, the headline, decision imminent, because they aren't so final and definitive right now when talking about Roque and the decision from Barca. They say that next week, that's going to be crucial. A final decision then will be made on whether Barca are going to be able to bring in Roque in January, and Sport go on to say that Barca right now must decide on whether to bring in Roque or to sign another midfielder. Those are the options that they have to choose between, because there will only be sufficient FFP margin for one signing, and that's the absolute best case scenario. But I'm sorry guys, how is that even a decision? How is that even a question right now about what we need more? Let's not forget we're a team, as we discussed yesterday, who cannot score goals. We do not have genuine goal scorers in this team. Our sole number 9, he is very much struggling. How is it a choice? We need Roque, and we need him now. Let's make no mistake about that here. He is such an important player coming in. We got a young, exciting forward waiting for us, who, don't forget as well, we spent huge money on him. This was the biggest signing that we even made in the summer, and he's still not here. Get him in now. What are we waiting for? We cannot go out and sign another midfielder. We cannot prioritise anything other than getting Vitor Roque at this club. We need his goals. We need attacking output. We need a threat in front of goal, and I can't wait any longer for it. I'm sorry, guys, that we've waited long enough here. Any more time added here to Roque being away from the club, not being allowed to join up, it's also not fair on him. He signed for the club. He had trust in us that we would come good and get him in January, and it is the obligation right now of the club to make that happen, because above all else, Xavi needs goals. Xavi needs a presence up front, and Roque is a player who can bring all of that and more. So indeed, guys, those right there are the Barça news topics that we have to discuss today. Please do let me know down below your thoughts on each and every one of them. Really interested there on your take on Ansu Fati and what may happen with him in the summer. Tell me as well your feelings on Xavi and the Vitor Roque situation. And also today, a really special video over on MORETALKFCB as Zinedine Zidane meets Lionel Messi. Lots happening right now and lots to get your teeth stuck into. So I will see you all soon with lots more coming up because Barca have a very, very big game on Sunday. I will see you all soon. Thank you indeed for your support. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.